Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to this week's edition of the Digital Shop Talk Radio. I'm the host, Tom Dorsey. Got a great show for you today. We're welcoming back Kathleen Jarosik from Xpertech in Edgewood, Florida. And we're going to be talking about coaching. We're going to be talking about how to become a better coach by becoming more coachable ourselves, right? It's critical. You have to be able to take coaching and be trainable to be able to train people. And so this is going to help you in your business, whether you're looking to implement the digital shop and you're having challenges with tech adoption or service writer adoption. It's going to help you to just become a better teacher and mentor in general. And, hey, if you've got those aspirations, once your digital shop is so successful that you find yourself bored most of the day and you want to go help other people get the success that you have, like Kathleen's doing, well, then there you have another opportunity for you by actually becoming an industry coach. So welcome, Kathleen. Thank you for coming back. How's everything in Florida? How's business? And tell us a little bit about what's been going on since last time we saw you.
Well, it's thank you for inviting me, first of all. It's
You're
always fun to chat with you at lunchtime.
welcome.
It is sunny and it is hot in Florida still. So all of the northern, we lovingly call them snowbirds, are on the way back. So business is really starting to pick back up. All of our seasonal people are coming back in. I miss them terribly. So aside from the fact that it is good for business, it's good for my social life. So I get to go out in the office and chit chat and talk to people and get in the way of my service advisor. And I get the side eye, get back in your office. I'm trying to work here, get back in your office. But no, it's great. The community has been fabulous. I know that it leaked out that the next female shop owner of the year has been named publicly, which is fabulous. So I am back home, a little less travel, a little less glitz and glamour and spotlight. And so I'm kind of digging in and focusing on, just back to the basics and mastering the mundane and the KPIs of the business, and really just kind of perfecting and honing the basic stuff in the shop, system, operation, procedure, and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's fun, right? Because that, it's such a luxury to be able to focus on those things and focus on improving. And how do we get to that next level? How do I break through that glass ceiling? And by the way, congratulations. I'm glad the paparazzi are gone and things are starting to calm down for you, but couldn't have been a better choice. I mean, well-deserved, of course. And, we're really, like I said, looking forward to see what's next when it comes to Kathleen, because she's out there getting it done every day.
She is.
And so, she is. And she brings the hotness.
Yes, it's hot.
The reason it's hot in Florida is right here. I'll tell you right now. So, no, it's fantastic.
Hold on. I'm going to pull this up for you. One of my customers brought me this the other day. It's on my desk. It says I'm kind of a big deal.
It's kind of a big deal. That's right.
It's a great relationship to have with your clients, isn't it?
Yes.
I have two of those.
Yes, the race is on. Get in there and rub elbows with Kathleen sooner rather than later, because she can take you to the next level. She's got the connections now.
We are certainly trying. I tell you what, it's I've had the opportunity. I know the last time I was kind of out there, I with you guys, I said, I'd love to be a coach. That is my next goal.
Yeah.
And I'm not quite there yet. I want to make sure that this place really runs top notch, which it really does. But, you've got to, the captain still has to steer the ship. Mm-hmm. And so, and it's my baby. I have a really hard time letting go of my baby. So I also have two teenage children that a lot of people know about. I have a senior in high school and a freshman this year. So I'm kind of trying to take a little bit of a step back this year to focus on them and their needs, and college visits and financial aid applications and FAFSA. And oh my goodness, who knew all this? I should have been working on this paperwork since kindergarten. I didn't even know.
Exactly. Isn't it incredible? I mean, you're like, what?
It's paperwork. So cool to and being able to. So part of the marketing or the coaching group I am part of was Repair Shop It Tomorrow, and my coach is Dave Justice, and he has really been such an amazing mentor that I am not coaching others directly, but there's a couple of local shops. We've formed a business development group through our Napa Auto Care, and so I have had the opportunity to kind of, I'm not coaching, but I am nurturing them, which I think is a great stepping stone towards being a coach. So I get to see that that they're both in different spots and places that I was. And I thought, man, if I'd have known then, one of our groups, they're in their very, very young 30s as owners, a husband and wife. And I'm like, man, if I'd have started this back then, can you imagine where I'd be? So it's super exciting to kind of learn and watch and see where that's going to take me at some point. So, I'm always an advocate to help others do whatever. If you want to be the best underwater basket weaver there is, then, you got to work hard and be the best underwater basket weaver there is. So if that's what lights your fire.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Is really, how do you get to that level, or how can you start to transition, or even just start nurturing or mentoring shops to where you can make that transition to becoming a full-time coach if that's your desire? The first step is being successful.
Yes.
You get coaching from a guy who misses the ball every single time he swings the bat. So you have to be successful. And Kathleen, you've got that unlocked. Tell us a little bit about how you had that epiphany, because when did you ask for help from a coach? Why? And then how was it? That's a lot of times, you're holding on with both hands. And like you said, this is my baby. And then I got this person's going to come in and tell me how easy it is to just sit back there and point out all the negative stuff. I could do that all day.
Yeah.
How do you kind of let that wall down and accept that coaching?
I will tell you. So I went to the 2015 Napa Expo, and
that was huge.
It was so awesome. I can't wait for next year.
I know.
I'm so excited.
It's amazing. It's already next year.
I know. I blinked. I don't know what happened. So, I had hit that, like you said, the glass ceiling. Like I just couldn't get over that yearly dollar figure, and I thought there's got to be more to it than this. We're busy, but are we efficient? And so one of the coaching companies had approached me, and they did their pitch, and it didn't feel like a good fit for me. Although a very awesome company, they're still around, they do great work. That's why I'm not going to tell you who it is. But I chose not to go with them, and I reached out to a gentleman that I had met at Expo, and he said, "Hey, I got this guy that you should call. Just a guy. Give him a call. He'll kind of give you a nudge in the right direction." And that's where I started. I realized very early at that point that when I started this, the buyout, and then I became an auto care center, Napa really came in and showed me that I had to be teachable. They sent me to Vin Waterhouse. They sent me to a service advisor class through the Auto Tech system with Paul Marquardt. He's amazing, by the way. If anybody has that opportunity, I highly recommend that 2-day class. I would do it again tomorrow, and I've done it twice. So it just, you pick something up every single time. You're in a different spot. You're listening with different sets of ears. And so I became teachable and just was always hungry, and I want to be a lifelong learner. So I said, well, somebody who's done this right, they've been successful, let me ask them to help me and mentor me. And so the first step was not pointing bad things out. They said, you really need some help. I was the customer service rep, the service advisor, the bookkeeper, the marketer. I did it all. And they said, you need some help. I can't afford to hire anybody else. I said, well, how about just part-time? So it was like they tricked me a little into, 3 months in, I realized I needed a full-timer. And now we've grown to the point where, I always thought the bottleneck was in the shop. It was up front. I was the bottleneck. So the sooner they coached me out of that front office was really when things got better. And I will tell you, to be completely transparent, the last year, although the awards and the articles are fantastic, I lost a little bit of focus. And so that's why I say this year I'm focusing on my kids, but I'm also focusing back on the basics, because you can be running a top-notch, amazing shop and step your focus. You can lose your focus for a split second, and things start to change. You've constantly got to be evolving, like our automotive technology does, or it can slip right out from underneath you. We didn't have a major fall, but there was a little bit. If we're stagnant, I find that as a negative for me. That's not the case for everybody, but for me, if we're not growing, we're losing. And so I like to win. And so that's my focus for the next 3 months for sure, is to finish this year as strong as I possibly can. If that means that, I'm out there flipping a sign on the corner, I'm not going to do that, by the way. But
Not a bad idea.
Hey, whatever it takes, and so but I think I needed that to become a better mentor as well. That, that's great. I have success. Let's check the box. Well, that box doesn't stay checked. You've got to, you've got to measure and manage and constantly keep your eye on the ball, or, you can lose the game super quick. It can just slip right out from underneath you. So I'm grateful for the little bit of a falter and misstep so that I can get back on and win again. So
yeah, no, that's fantastic. I mean, you dropped a ton of nuggets right there, right? And I think what I'd like to start out with is just to say, if you find yourself, you're a shop owner out there, maybe you're new into it, maybe you've been in it, maybe you're picking it up from your family or something like that, and you're looking to make your mark. And if you find yourself, I think, reading the books and attending the seminars, in other words, starting to actively look for knowledge, is a great first sign to say to yourself that you're opening up for this type of mentorship. And then, there's a lot of them out there, but it's not like you're getting a tattoo, it's not going to be there on you forever. So try them out, talk to folks, go through their little boot camps or get the analysis done, and you'll figure out what, kind of meets with your culture and your model and what you're trying to achieve as a business owner. And then go for it, right? Because you could spend years digging through all those books. And what the funny thing about books are, and in the technology that we live in today, is that by the time you get it figured out and you get to that last chapter, well, they probably changed all the technology anyway. And it's all irrelevant now
anyway. Isn't that crazy? I know. I will tell you, like you said, I was at the Southeastern Napa Conference in Biloxi in August, and I met a lot of top-notch shop owners that are just fantastic people. And that's what a lot of them asked me. They're like, what about your coach? And I said, Dave is fantastic and his team is incredible. And I said, here's their phone number, but here's the phone number for Jim at Drive. And here's the phone number for the guys at ATI. And here's the phone numbers for, and I listed 3 or 4 other coaches that I know of out there that are just killing it. And I said, what I recommend is that you interview each one of those and see which ones your personality super fits with, because it's like going to counseling sometimes, if you don't fit with that counselor or that group of people, that friend group, you're never going to gel and you're never going to be successful. So you really have to make sure that principles and personalities are aligned before you choose a company. They are all worth their weight in gold, as far as I've been able to see so far. Everybody has goods, everybody has bads. Sometimes it's not a good fit. But you're right. It's not like you're getting a tattoo and it's not forever. If this one doesn't work with you, move on to the next one. So it's you're absolutely right. But interview them. Talk to these guys and ladies. There's a lot of women coaches out there too.
Great ones.
And so, maybe you'd be better with a woman. Maybe you'd be better with a man. Maybe, you'd be better with a giraffe. I don't know,
you try on your shoes. You might as well try on some coaches.
Exactly.
And so tell us a little bit, because here's the other thing you have to be prepared for, is you have to be prepared to open the kimono, so to speak, right? Tell us a little bit about how was it the first time that you got out into a BDG and you had to actually show some of your metrics, or, really expose some of the stuff that you sure would like to rather have kept, in the dark.
So I'm an open book kind of person. I know we've kind of established that, sometimes I share more than I probably should. But if I can help one person learn from maybe my misstep or something I didn't catch on to as quickly, I'm all in both feet. So when I went to my first meeting where I shared my P&L, I was terrified because I thought they were going to shred me, and they didn't. They said, well, here's where you could improve, and this is what you're doing right. And so, you're sworn to secrecy. There is the Vegas clause in any one of those groups where, because I'm not going to share your numbers, because if I share yours, you might share mine. And, there's that confidentiality that if you're joining a group, you've got to just trust the process. If they didn't have that nailed down, they would have a horrible reputation in this business. I think that would go very quickly like wildfire through everybody if you had an information leak. And so I think that most of us are to the point where The successful shops, or the ones that want to be successful, are going to play well with each other and support and lift the harbor. The ones that, keep everything, up under wraps and they hide everything, I think those are the shops that we're going to see kind of work their way out of the business. And I hate to see that happen, because it is a culture shift. I think especially the younger generation of shop owners, we tend to share information more freely because we're used to everything being a free amount of, it's accessible. Everything is accessible on the internet, and we're used to information being shared about us. I mean, I know that Alexa knows exactly what time I drink my coffee, and that I check, what time I check Facebook every day. I know that my car knows all that information. So some of the I think some of the older school guys are still fighting that, but you know it as well as I do. There is really no illusion of privacy anymore. Yeah, your numbers are private, but you know what? If I have the same size shop you do down the street, I'm not going to show you all my numbers, but and I'm not going to open the kimono wide, but I can't fix all the cars in this town, and it's not a big town. So if you're in a metro area, you can't possibly fix all the cars. But if you could get 4 shops together working in a similar manner toward a same direction of teaching and coaching your clients and things like that and educating, why wouldn't you do that? So that you're changing the entire industry to be better and to push themselves for more than hiding and only being selfish and being about yourself. So I think we're seeing a culture shift where people are less scared to share, the secrets.
That's definitely true. And I know, like, there's some great groups like that, because you're right. When it's a BDG, it's usually shops that are pretty close to you, and gosh, you feel the natural inclination is keep the cards close to the vest because competition.
Yep.
But even like, and so in some groups, you get out there, and so they bend over backwards to pair you up in a 20 group where the shops are not in your local market, right? But there's shops. So like, I know there's some guys in Fresno, Aram and Craig Chan, and those guys, they're all ATI shops, but they really have a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah.
Right? Because just like you said, there are a lot of cars out there to fix. And you know what, if we can capture them into our small network and we sublet and we cross them up and
we share
and really just work together to provide a much better service, well, guess what? You capture a larger part of the market. And I bet you get enough that you all couldn't eat if you wanted to for Sunday dinner. It's more than enough.
Yes.
And so get out there and be smart and work that way. And guess what? Pool those resources and then get, and then help each other be better. And it's not, the market will respond, right? We're not dummies. We're going to go, well, this is obviously an organized, well-run, highly respected, lots of great reviews, and you're going to become loyal to that type of business.
Right. Look at what the industry looked like, let's say 15 years ago, even 15 to 20 years ago. You had to be open on Saturday. Remember that?
Yeah, sure.
How many of us besides Big Box are open on Saturday?
Yep.
Almost none. And if you join a coaching group or a 20 group, that's the first thing they're going to do is tell you to close on Saturday. So, you know what I mean? So I think we're seeing that industry shift where we're all saying, okay, and with technology, we're going to have to band together. There's no way, with ADAS and reprogramming and all of that to compete with the dealerships, we're going to have to pool resources, and really come together. Share tools, share knowledge, I mean, maybe I have an A-Tech that's really, really good in hybrid, but, your guy is really, really good in Euro. And, our market doesn't have a flood of technicians. And I know that not everybody does. So I think that, the best of the best are really going to start to rise to the top, and we're going to have to share, we're going to have to share information. And, that, or we all go into a specialty shop and, I don't know how I feel about that. To alienate any portion of my customer base, I think would be crazy.
Well, and the hedge funds and the ones that are out there trying to roll up the industry, it's pretty simple, and time proven tactic is divide and conquer. So if you're going to try to stay divided and compete against Carl Icahn or AAA or whatever's rolling out through your neighborhood and trying to soak up all that data and your leads and your customer base, well, good luck to you. Because that's a behemoth, and you have to, it's like the eye of Sauron, right? Once it's focused on you, you've got, what are you going to do?
Right.
So,
Well, and those, we got to
strength in
remember,
numbers.
as aftermarket professionals, we have to remember that what really sets us apart from the dealerships and the big box shops and the Pep Boys and all of these consolidations that are going on. What sets us apart is service.
Yes.
How do we take care of our clients? And that's a huge part of the coaching. Our coaching always has a focus on how you treat your client, the value that you give them, and not necessarily about doing the right repair. That's already assumed, that you have a skilled set of employees that do the right repair. The right repair, then you got to kind of get into, doing that right repair for the right price. That's a struggle when you're coaching somebody. And as an owner, it's been very difficult for me I remember coming up over that $100 mark. Now, last year in one of our 20 groups, we had a guy that was under the $100 mark, and I just looked straight at him and I'm like, pull the trigger. Aren't you worth more than that? And he was like, you know what? I am. And this year he came back and he was like, you know what? First thing I did when I came back, best thing I ever did. Yes. I don't care that the guy across the street from you is doing $50 an hour. I don't care. Yep. You are a professional. That guy clearly is not, because if he was, he'd charge what he's worth, or he doesn't have the technology to support it. He doesn't have, as we educate our clients, and that's the huge portion of coaching too, is educating your client. Well, I'm going to use this $15,000 scan tool that the guy down the street doesn't have or doesn't know how to use, with my highly skilled technicians. And, while you're here, I'm going to give you some nice fresh coffee and some juice. And I mean, we all have the nice waiting rooms now. And, I have a comfy couch. That's what sets me apart. I don't have hard chairs. I don't mind if you wait. It's just, and we chat about your children and your grandchildren and my children. And, I have people that come in all the time and ask me how old my baby is. Oh, how old's the baby now? I'm like, do you want me to lie, or do you want me to just, do you want me to beat you down with the truth? But I have built 15 years of relationships with these people that they remember that, they don't see me every day. So they still think that my 14-year-old child is 4. And I put that in my paper newsletter, look, this one's graduating from high school this year, and this is what's going on. And so you really do build that relationship. And it's so important for owners to understand how significant that is to people, especially the I'm going to say the bad word, millennials coming through. They want, I think they want that relationship. They don't want to talk to you, but they want that relationship, and to know that they're in bed with something that is making a difference. And I think elevating the industry and being inclusive and helping each other out and being coaches and mentors shows people that we are doing something for the community as a whole. We're not fighting against each other anymore and, being negative. I just can't stand the negativity. So
yeah, no, and it's great. And it's exactly that, because the shift has been to say, hey, I'm not going to baffle you with my technical knowledge. I'm going to educate you. And if other shops in the area are educating you and they're all sticking to that price point, shopping doesn't even work. Hey, how about if I call up, ABC Automotive, and he tells me, XYZ Automotive are great guys. You're in good hands.
Yeah.
Right. Oh my gosh, what an experience that is to the market. And then, so therefore, again, is really what we're looking to do through the education is just bring trust and that sense of credibility out into the market. Yep. And then it becomes much more easier, right, to maintain, to give great service, to get them coming back, to get them to actually consider a maintenance plan.
Yep.
Because past, I mean, I've even done this. It's like, oh yeah, right, I got to come back all this times. You're just trying to sell me all this additional stuff. I don't really need to be on this strict maintenance plan. But no, in reality, you want to do that because why? Hey, you prevent a lot of bigger problems and challenges in the future if you just maintain. And we all realize that, right? We maintain our homes and our lawns, and
Yeah.
what happens if you don't mow your lawn for a couple of weeks? You can't see the door. So no different with your vehicles, right? Tell me, let me ask you this, Kathleen. So how has that, you opening up to being coachable, you now have not only had lots of different influences, right, through NAPA and through other coaching organizations and Justice and all those guys, and that kind of, you kind of put together all of those pieces into what works for you and what fits your culture and what your goals are. How has that influenced your crew? How has that driven morale and productivity and sense of pride and ownership and things like that in your business?
I will say the crew that I have now, when I really first started measuring and managing and things like that, the crew that I had at the time was not on board. I have one guy that is with me from that era, and he is still here. He jumped on board. He was like, I get it, I'm good. But he was the guy that wasn't, he was doing it right the whole time, and so we've cycled through a few people, and this crew, although they still fight me when I try to make some changes, like, I have the same problems everybody else does. When we started using the Auto Vitals DVI, it was a huge challenge. I had to bargain with them. I said, how about we just do every oil change that comes in, you do this for me for 1 month. Can you do that? It was like selling service to a client.
Yes, exactly.
Can you do this? Do you think you can? Does that make sense for 1 month that you do this for me?
Sounds fair
and then we'll revisit it the first week of next month. And if you hate it and it's horrible and it's not helping us, I will rethink my decision. And sure enough, a month later, they still hate it. That was well over a year ago, and they still hate it. They hate it. They hate it because it slows them down. But my techs will turn around to anybody like new. I have a third tech position that's open, and anybody that I've interviewed, they're like, well, we do digital vehicle inspection, which not a lot of people in my area do, which is insane. And so they'll say, well, we do this, and it sucks, but it helps Jamie, our service advisor, sell so much more work so much faster. So it is absolutely worth getting through the part that sucks. Yes. And so I was like, wow, oh, is that what you said? And they're like, hey, be quiet. So it was a huge victory. And so they're seeing the benefit of having pictures and being transparent. I'm not doing anything to a client, I'm doing things for my client, and they can see that as well. Their words make it all the way up to the client without the service advisor losing something in translation, because a lot of service advisors aren't car people. Sure. Which is, I think, is an advantage sometimes, because then they don't get too technical. So it's really, really cool, and making that transition and the bridge and the gap between the technician and the client so much smoother. So that's been huge. I have an amazing crew that supports me in this shop through thick and thin. I won that award, but the one that really excites me is the two we got through the newspaper this year. That's not my award. I didn't win that. I'm stuck back in this office 99% of the time. My clients don't see me. They see my crew. That's awesome. So they won best oil change and best repair service from the newspaper, where people physically had to handwrite our shop's name in there. It wasn't like multiple choice. Yes. They physically had to write our name in those boxes. And so that win and that told me that these guys really do have a high regard for what we do, where we do it, how it looks. The shop, people come in all the time, wow, your shop is so clean. I'm not one of those people out there going, you got time to lean, you got time to clean. It just happens organically. And so, they do have a sense of pride. This is kind of looking ugly out here. Can we fix this? We need this, or, so it's really nice, and they're conscientious over spending money. Sometimes, do we need another 55 of brake clean today? No, we could maybe wait a month. I'm like, no. If the word maybe came out of your mouth, just get it here. I would rather, so it's fun to watch them feel like they are a huge piece of the operations of the business. They act like they own it. And I think that's a huge culture that you have to build with
Yes.
people, celebrate the wins, recognition and things like that go a million miles further than reprimands do. So, when you get caught doing something right and somebody calls you out for it, it sure does feel good and you want to do it again. So it does. Absolutely. I was like, oh. So
you've been catching a lot of those recognitions lately.
Yes.
Well deserved, right? Well deserved. And no, it's so awesome that you get to share that with the crew and that, yeah, you're right. They did earn those. And nothing more powerful than direct voice from the market saying,
yes,
this is the place, right? Because it's outstanding. And, and it's, a great segue is, because next week we're having Russ Crosby back. We're going to be talking about, how to network using Auto Vitals, how to kind of get out and expand your marketing and your awareness using the digital shop, right? But we've had Russ on several times, and Russ is, he's one of those young guns you're talking about.
Yep.
Young family, just having kids, and just dynamic business owner, and really forward thinking and open, right, to this. And matter of fact, he's a member of ATI as well. He's one of those smart guys that went and saw, hey, I could struggle and figure this out over 30 years and probably have a bad back and,
yes,
a lot less hair, or I can kind of do it the smart way. Right.
Right.
And so he's one of those guys, but, talking culture with him and what he's done, like you said, is to bring the crew in and open them up to what the goals are and what their role is in and what the expectations are. And once you have that transparency and you show them that value and let them loose, right? And you're not out there cracking the whip or, manage them with their thumb on their back of their neck all day. You'd be surprised at what they can accomplish and the ideas that they bring into your business, right? Because they see it. They're the boots on the ground. You got to listen to them because they see.
Absolutely.
You don't see.
And it all comes back that you have to share your why.
Yes.
Why am I doing this? Why do I get out of bed in the morning? And then you have to listen to their why. Why do you come to work for me every week or every day? Why? It's not just a paycheck, certainly not in my culture. So I think it's really important to share that and hear theirs. Of course, now I need a drink of water. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're just joking up. Yeah, now you deserve it. Like I said, we got to get unfortunately our time is up. But, Kathleen, I really want to thank you again for coming on, and always just, every time you come on, you just drop so much insight. And it's so, I know it's just so helpful to folks out there listening, especially new into the industry. And, how can folks get in touch with you if they want to ask you more?
My personal email address is my first and last name, no spaces, dots, dashes, nothing. It's an SIK, by the way, not a KI. I never get those, at gmail.com. Blow my phone up. I am always here to help if I can. If not, I definitely have a Rolodex of amazing people that I've met, especially women in auto care. I mean, there's tons of us out there that help create this culture in the industry that spreads like wildfire. So,
and those would be some great 20 groups too, right? I know ATI's got, ATI has the women shop owners 20 group and but that's some great 20 groups right there too, where you can get out and really just be empowered and go out there and make a mark, and then be competitive, right? And put your numbers up there and
my eyeballs are watering off. Welcome to Florida, man. Here's what paradise looks like.
Yeah.
We get a sudden blast of pollen and it's like,
yeah, right. I'll let you get back to it. I know you're busy. It was wonderful having you on. I can't wait to have you back on.
Awesome, Tom.
I can't wait to start bragging about you when you've decided to hang with Englewood, and just track your success over time. I mean, it's a fantastic story, and thank you very much for sharing it with the audience.
My pleasure. Thank you so much. It was a blast.
Yes. Until next time. Get out there and make some more money. And then tune in next week. Where, like I said, we're going to be talking to Russ Crosby. We're going to be talking about networking through the tool and, using the digital shop to get out and build awareness in your market. And, you find us Wednesday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, streaming live on Facebook. And then, of course, you can always go to the Auto Vitals website there and find links for recorded, back episodes, because you want to see the Kathleen episode when she was on with Kim Hickey and
that was
talking
so much
about
fun.
women in the industry. It's I posted that thing up on LinkedIn the other day and it did 1 million. You know, I don't want to say 1 million, but I couldn't imagine. It's the highest watched video of any in the series. So
yeah, I want one of those sparkly backgrounds like she has next time. I'm gonna work on that for next time.
You know, talk to Dustin; he'll hook you up.
Dustin, hook me up.
We'll work on it, Kathleen, for next time.
Yes.
You got it.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Dustin. Appreciate it. Great job today, and we'll see you next week.